Welcome to the Tuesday Review. I'm Nathan, as always joined by James, Callum and Alan tonight. How you going, boys?
Not bad.
Okay.
What's that?
Very good. And we're revisiting the Mario movies this week. So we've talked...
Yeah.
I don't know if we talked about it on the show. Well, we'd all seen the Mario movie.
No,
when
we
it came out.
we did a review. I wrote it down so that listeners can go back. We reviewed it on episode 150, where the first half we talked about John Wick 4, and the second half we talked about the animated Super Mario Bros. Movie with Jake. So yeah, if you probably go back and listen to that one first, it's episode 150. Skip to like 28 minutes after we finish with John Wick, and then yeah, we talk about the Mario movie because Alan, Callum, Nathan, and friend of the show Jake had all seen the movie, but I didn't go. So you guys talked about it then, and I was just asking questions and giving impressions without having seen the movie. And then the episode after that, 151, because Alan wasn't there for 150, so in 151, Alan came in and we talked a bit more about Mario again. So you can like listen to the first 10 minutes of 151 if you want. And because we say a lot, we pretty much get everything out in that without spoiling anything. But this time, I have seen the new movie. Yeah, so we're revisiting.
So part 3.
Technically, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a double feature
Yeah.
So-
because
Alan hasn't seen the original Mario Brothers movie.
hadn't.
Yeah. Super Mario Brothers 1993.
Hadn't.
Yeah. The live action.
The first Mario Brothers movie.
The superior
yeah.
Mario Brothers movie.
Um,
Yeah, so we decided, it was actually in episode 151 where we're like, let's do a double feature, watch the original live action one first and then watch the animated new one right after. And so we did that on Saturday night and had a grand old time. Too grand for some people.
no. It was, I was all right.
No, you were.
No, it was
Nathan
just
was-
grand enough.
Nathan was smashed.
I wasn't.
Yes,
It was just.
No, I was
At
sober.
one point, literally, I was like,
Yeah.
"Cal, did you understand a word he
The
said?"
more,
Yeah, no.
the more you,
I understood what I said.
the
alright?
more you tried to convince us you weren't drunk,
Yeah,
the more
yeah.
drunk I thought you
All
were.
right, all right.
He doth protest too
And-
much.
Yeah.
And if you are of a legal drinking age and generally have the capacity to drink, I think you'll probably enjoy the 1993 movie more.
The 93 movie is so weird that if you're sober, you'll be tripping. If you're high or like drunk, you'll be tripping. So I don't think it...
I think you'll have a better
matters.
trip.
Look, personally, I'm unbiased because I actually really like this movie. I've seen this movie quite a few times, but watching it again, I had more fun this time. Especially with...
It's a good party movie.
yeah.
You watch it with other people who haven't seen
I
it.
guess-
You get to experience it through them.
I guess you could say it's a so bad it's good type of movie that's fun to watch with your friends.
I wouldn't
But
say.
I genuinely
say it's
think
bad,
it's
though.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't
it's-
think it's
I mean-
bad. I think it's good. I actually, and one of the reasons I did enjoy it so much is because I kept looking over at Alan, who hadn't seen the movie before, and he was
The
just like,
confused
"What?
look on his
Yeah,
face,
what the
yeah.
hell is going on?"
There's so much weird. Look, the best way I would describe that 1993 movie is somebody had some kind of script for like an action movie-ish thing,
Mm.
and then they're like, "Okay, how about
They
we
got cocaine throughout the
yeah."
movie.
They're like, "How about we based on the Mario Brothers?" They're like, "What's that?" And so somebody very loosely described Mario Bros.
And
Yoshi,
they tried to cram it
and
into
then
a...
yeah, they're like, "Okay, I'll make a movie out of that."
Yeah.
And a lot of cocaine later.
I
You had a
think
script.
what I was trying to say when we were watching it though is like I feel like it's too coherent for it to be fully cocaine.
Well,
fueled.
yeah.
Like I feel like it's
There's a little bit of
it's
crystal
also
meth in there somewhere.
yeah, it's also like you can tell they know what Mario is. They know who Yoshi is. They know who they know
do
what the
that? Yeah.
Goombas are.
They just don't care.
But
Yeah.
they don't. They kind of interpret them. They either take it too literally in terms of like the live action version, or they subvert it.
Oh, you know, I understand. I feel the
So it's like
subversion, yeah.
there is some level of understanding of
Yeah.
the property,
Yeah.
which
Is it-
is what makes it even weirder and more
Like,
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Was
Like, there's
it-
no Peach, there's Daisy.
Yeah.
They wear
Yeah.
opposite colours.
Was
it's
it-
like so they knew. It's like the in the game, the Goombas have big heads, small bodies. In the movie, they have small heads, big bodies. It's like so they knew what they were
Yeah.
doing, but they deliberately. But then the other things, it's like well, Bowser, like yeah, and there's this whole thing where the Yoshi is a literal like little
Dinosaur,
velociraptor
yeah.
dinosaur.
Yeah, and then you got like the Mushroom Kingdom with the fungus.
Yeah, and it's just like, so they're trying to literally bring it to the quote unquote real world and in the live action, but also it doesn't make sense because it's
Yeah.
not, one, it's not the same as the game, but two, it's too literal for a live action
Was it
interpretation.
John Leguizamo who has been quoted saying he can't remember making
Yeah.
this movie?
Because he was high as a kite.
Yeah.
He was coked out of his mind.
That kind of sums
I
this
think-
movie up as well.
Yeah, but I think because we talked about this, we reviewed this movie back on the old show, which the episode is no longer up anymore because our old podcast host died. But I remember
died maliciously.
yeah, without giving us
They
any.
told us they would move everything over, and they just
yeah,
didn't.
like a week before.
Thanks, Shout
and then-
Engine.
Yeah.
More
But-
like Lame Engine.
But like we talked about it then, where it's like when I can understand when this movie came out in 1993, like Super Mario was like huge. Super Mario World had came out like the year before, or maybe a couple years before. It was around that time where
Yeah.
the video game was a big deal. There was cartoons out already, and so for a big live action movie, I can understand why this really weird Mad Max / Blade Runner / 90s goofy kids movie
He's laughing
mixture
like James isn't
together.
telling the truth.
Yeah, but that's and it's so weird.
You look
I
at the card design and you tell me there's no Mad
No,
Max
no,
in
no,
there.
I can understand why people didn't like it and why it
Yeah.
flopped and why people still hate it.
I can
Yeah,
understand
but-
also why Nintendo decided after this movie,
Yeah, no more.
we wouldn't get another Nintendo movie
Yeah.
for like 30 years.
Yeah,
I
I
challenge you,
completely
Alan.
understand it.
I challenge you, Alan, to look at the set design of the Mushroom Kingdom, such as it is, and tell me there's no Blade Runner.
We
in
took
it.
the guy who built like the sets for the city in Blade Runner did the sets
That's
for
right.
this Mushroom Kingdom. in
No,
this
no, I'm
movie.
not
It's
contesting
crazy.
that. I think anyone that watched the movie would ask the same question: is
Why?
was that necessary
Yeah.
in a Mario Brothers movie?
Yeah, and that's why. Like, I think I understand why it doesn't well, and I understand why people don't like it. But having seen it many times over the years and rewatching it a couple of days ago, like it gets better every time. And now that I'm like, you separate yourself and be like, yeah, it's not a good Mario movie, but it's a
a good
cool,
sci-fi
weird
film.
sci-fi.
And I will pay that. I will pay that.
Yeah.
Where if you separate, say it's not a good Mario movie, but it is a good weird other thing going on movie.
And we'll compare it to the new animated movie in a minute, but I think there are parts of the live action version that do Mario better than the new animated version, despite the new animated version being an almost one-to-one video game
Yeah.
to movie adaptation in terms of how the characters are presented, how the world looks. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if we should start with the first movie and then do the second movie, or should we just mix them all together and
Just mix them together, see where our thoughts take us.
yeah.
I will say if you can watch the original movie, the 1993 movie on Blu-ray, watch it on Blu-ray.
Yeah.
Because we watched it at Alum's projector. Ours isn't working at the moment at home, so we went over to Alum's to his watching on his cinema system.
Mm.
And the Blu-ray picture blown up looks really,
Yeah.
really good.
And because I got
Gorgeous.
2 Blu-ray copies of the 93.
Did you bring
Super
the
Mario.
normal one or the Arrow one?
No, I brought the original, the first UK release one, which I think is at least 2018,
Yeah.
maybe older.
Yeah.
And it looked
It
really,
looks
really
spectacular,
Because
yeah.
I know that apparently it was a big deal when it got re-released through Arrow as well.
I don't
guess
think Arrow did it.
Arrow, well, it got re-released through something. Umbrella, maybe.
Umbrella did it in Australia, and I
Yeah.
bought that one
Oh,
because
yeah.
that had the Alum. You ready for this? That had the extended director's cut.
Yeah,
Umbrella
which-
must have been thinking of,
It's the work print version, which it's only in like VHS quality, so it wouldn't be much of a fun time on the projector. But yeah, I'm gonna have to watch. That's why I bought
What
it.
scenes did they leave out?
It's just like a little few extended scenes, you know.
Just more of Bob Hoskins, Mario leering.
Yeah.
more sex test Mario.
You like my little brother, huh? You think he's cute?
Can I
That's
watch
more
it?
where that
What?
came from.
Yeah.
Okay, so one of the reasons the 93 version is awesome is not only because of the production design, costume design, it's so everything, you know, like we always complain. They built all that stuff.
Yeah.
It looks cool. It's colorful. It's
It
weird.
still looks good
It's
today.
huge
Yeah.
sets, like a big city, cars, people in weird costumes. There's like a lot going on. Even when they go to like the quarry and there's like it's all this Mad Max stuff. It's crazy cool. But on top of that, I think the cast is really good. I think Bob Hoskins is a pretty awesome Mario,
He is.
and he's I wouldn't say he's phoning it in.
No.
He does his job.
As a quote unquote serious actor.
I mean,
as an English proper actor,
a Shakespearean actor.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like he went into this movie not knowing who Mario was, but being told he is an Italian-American plumber.
Yeah,
And he doesn't play Mario. He plays an Italian-American
also-
plumber named Mario. And all of the, we'll say, vices that entails.
keep in mind the video game at this point was still all 2D sprites, kind of that
Yeah.
stuff. And in terms of voice, the most we would hear is like "wahoo" or something like that. But all the cartoons that came out before the movie were all like how Bob Hoskins sounds, like Brooklyn, like "Hey, I'm walking here.
Hey, I'm here to fix your pipes.
Yeah, exactly. And so when Bob Hoskins does that voice, it makes sense. At least in this, especially in this adaptation where they're in the real world Brooklyn, in a quote unquote real world setting until they travel to the Mushroom Kingdom. Also, John Leguizamo is always fun to watch, and
He's young in this movie.
and the best part is Dennis Hopper as King Koopa, like the villain. Just chewing scenery, beautiful.
I always reflexively go Bowser, but he's not Bowser. He's King Koopa.
Well, it's the same guy, isn't it? I mean, he's called King Koopa, but
why did
it's
they
the
just call him
same.
Bowser?
King of the Coopers.
It's
but
a
his
synonym.
name is Bowser.
It's a
Synonym.
is
Alan?
synonym the right
Yeah.
word?
Call Jacob.
Look,
I'm sure. I'm pretty sure.
Again,
Oh no!
this
I'm
movie's
saying.
not going to
Yeah,
represent.
yeah.
Don't get me wrong. It is what it is. I'm just saying, like the Bowser.
They
Just,
call him King Koopa in the movie,
Yeah.
but he's technically Bowser. It's the same. I'm pretty sure it's the same. But
Bowser's just such a simple, more, interesting name.
yeah, I think I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I like it in the movies called Koopa. Like I don't know for the live action.
Yeah,
it makes
yeah.
sense anyway.
Well,
Not that anything in this movie makes sense.
Well, let's compare.
But yeah, Dennis Hopper is amazing. Sorry, Nathan. One more thing. And he's just chewing scenery, and he's so fun to watch, and he's just going for it. And, we talked about it very early in the Tuesday review episodes with Waterworld, where our sign-off catchphrase, Adios Cousins, comes from Dennis Hopper's villain character in Waterworld. I feel like it's a similar thing, where it's just like, he's just such a good bad guy, Speed. Like, he's just so fun to watch.
I do believe, how about we compare how both movies dealt with the real world?
Okay.
So, the original 1993 movie version, it's kind of it's kind of late 80s, early 90s, kind of
It's early 90s,
grimy New York.
It seems to be filmed on location.
Yeah.
There's a Brooklyn Bridge, and
they do it really well. I feel like they do it really well, the real world parts of this.
Yeah.
And they kind of do a similar...
They do the same thing, but more stylized because it's a cartoon. So in the new animated version that came out this year, and it's the 30th anniversary of the '93 movie, and finally Nintendo was allowed them to make another one, and Illumination, who does Despicable Me and the Minions, they animated this new Mario movie, and. Yeah, this one starts similarly in the quote-unquote real world, but obviously it's all animated, where they the two brothers are plumbers. And in both movies, they get sort of sucked into the Mushroom Kingdom, whereas the Mushroom Kingdom in the 93 version is like a nightmarish, Blade Runner-esque dystopian city run by King Koopa. In the new version, it's much more... it's just like lots of colourful mushrooms and castles and
I think
green
I guess
meadows.
technically they get sucked into the Mushroom Kingdom, but they also get, I guess, transported to a greater world overall because there's the Penguin Realm.
That's true, yeah.
That sort of
I think
thing.
the new movie shows the overworld with the different... And they go to the Kong, the jungle, and it's like a different...
One thing I prefer the original 1993 movie over the new animated one is, and I understand, it's because the newer movie is such focus being on straight a one-to-one adaptation. But I do like the fact that in the 1993 version, it's kind of like... It's almost espionage, it might be the wrong word, but you've got agents from the Mushroom Kingdom
Coming
in the
to
real world,
yeah.
and they have their own goals and kind of sinister motivations, right, to
Yeah.
abduct Daisy or get her pendant, whatever it is. And then they kind of, escape back into the Koopa Kingdom.
Yeah,
But-
kidnap her, and then
yeah.
that gives Mario and Luigi a reason why they
Yeah.
jump into the portal to go to the.
But on the other hand, I do like the fact that in the new one, it's kind of just like it's very much more aimed at they're just wanting to be good plumbers, and they're just like trying to fix all the leaks.
The start. So before I saw the movie, you guys were talking about how like the start of the movie is arguably maybe better than even the fantasy Mushroom Kingdom stuff. Is like when they have their commercial at the start, and when they're fixing the plumbing, the
Yeah.
leak, and
the dog attacks them.
yeah, and that stuff's all fun. I do. So one thing I like about the '93 version more is that it's about both brothers. They have like equal screen time.
Yeah.
They're a team.
Yeah.
And even though Mario's older and he's like, quote unquote, training Luigi as an apprentice plumber, like they're both helping in the adventure. They're both helping each other. They're both good at what they're doing.
Yeah.
But Mario is like an ace plumber. He knows all the sounds. He knows all the tools. He knows where all the pipes go. And that helps him to defeat, navigate the Mushroom Kingdom and defeat the bad guy. Whereas in the new movie, both Mario and Luigi are kind of young and inexperienced. They just started their business. They keep screwing up. Mario's dad is like, you're a joke. His family don't take him seriously.
The family stuff in the new movie.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
It's good.
The Italian American
Yeah.
New York family. And then as soon as they get to the Mushroom Kingdom, Luigi gets kidnapped and he's gone for 99% of the movie.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
if
it's
I'm
just-
Charlie Day, I'm happy that I probably got a
Yeah,
nice.
that's
yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's-
It's,
and
like
it's
I have
just-
to do how much? I have to do 2 days.
Yeah.
How much does Chris Pratt have to do? 6
Yeah.
weeks. Like-
And then the rest of the movie is just Mario kind of trying to figure out how his powers work in this universe, and then kind of defeating the villain at the end.
Well, it's
And-
true to the games because most of the time,
Luigi-
Luigi rarely play
yeah.
with
Yeah.
Luigi.
Luigi always
Actually, no.
Luigi
It's-
always gets the short end of the stick, but I kind of like how the '93 version is like, no, Luigi's gonna have his own thing. Like he's gonna be a part.
Yeah, they're
whereas-
gonna pay it back. The next movie they're gonna make is Luigi's Mansion.
I hope so. Yeah, we talked about that. In one of the other episodes where now that the animated movie has made a gajillion dollars, Nintendo's just going to churn these out, and Illumination is going to be.
It's
I hope we
interesting,
don't.
right?
I hope we
So-
don't fall into a problem where the movies get worse.
I feel like
progressively.
one, they're getting worse. Two, they're going to get oversaturated.
Yeah.
But three, like the thing with this animated movie is that it's very much like we talked about it in the early episodes. Like it's just a series of set pieces. Like, they go to the Mushroom Kingdom. Oh, he trains on the thing that looks like a side-scrolling, and he hits the boxes. Oh, they go to the Kong Kingdom. Oh, they do Mario Kart. Oh, he fights Bowser at the end. The story is almost non-existent.
Yeah, and this is the argument I made when we did our previous review.
Yeah.
And a lot of people didn't agree with this. A lot of people got super defensive because, so Mario is one of those interesting things where the generation preceding us, and us are like the core Mario fan base and have been for a very long time. And of course, kids are
Do I
always the core.
sense a hint
We
of
talked about
gatekeeping
it.
going on?
No.
No,
But before you interject, let me elaborate.
If listeners haven't gone back and listened to
Yeah.
episode 150, please do so because we talk about this thoroughly back
Yeah,
then.
yeah, yeah.
But Callum's going to reiterate that point.
So it's like, we grew up with Mario. We love Mario. For a lot of people, Mario was their first game on whatever platform.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like some of
He's
our...
such a big character.
Yeah,
Like,
some-
he's
like-
arguably the biggest video game character ever.
He literally, yeah.
Bigger than Pikachu?
Not probably not bigger than a Pong ball, but
I know. I
Close.
reckon probably bigger.
No, Pokemon's a much bigger franchise overall.
Oh,
As-
but
as
that's a
single
multimedia
figure,
franchise.
as
Though.
a
look,
single-
we don't have good Wi-Fi in the studio right now,
As
so
a
I'm not going to
single-
fight you on it. But I disagree.
As a single
sir.
character,
You're
Ma-
gonna
Ma-
fight Pokemon franchise over
Look,
Mario.
all I'm saying is
I'm talking about as a single character. Mario is probably the biggest video game character and most well known and potentially most beloved.
you know what? We'll just leave
especially,
that.
especially
In,
because
are we talking worldwide or just in Japan?
yeah, worldwide, and especially because Mario has been around for 40 years, so Gen X, millennials, and Gen Z, and probably even some older, and now what's the next after Gen Z? Even the younger generations, like
Zoomers?
everyone know. No, after Zoomers, there's
No one
even
cares about
the smaller, the little babies. Everyone knows Mario.
Yeah, that's right.
Whereas
So-
Pikachu, like I feel
Yeah,
like,
Like, if I'm in Japan, sure, I'll give you Pikachu over Mario, right?
Regardless.
But
Yeah,
worldwide, it's Mario.
yeah.
Yeah. So my point is that we love Mario, right? Mario is,
Yeah.
we grew up for most for
I'm
most
sitting there looking for a fight.
no for most
Right. popping
You
out
know
of
what
his
the
neck.
point we're trying to make, though.
For most people of our age, regardless of what your first console was in terms of the Nintendo ecosystem, a Mario game would have been your first game, whether it was Super Mario, Mario Kart, whatever.
Even if you have never played the game, you're aware of them.
Oh, 100%. Because of the very, very, very well done 93 version.
Yes, that's why, you know.
Yeah. So the point I'm trying to make is that when this film came out, the new one, there were reports that the story was non-existent because the prime demographic of this specific version of the film was very young audiences. It wasn't older people like us who might watch a movie like, I don't know, the thing I always reference is something like Zootopia, something like Coco. You know, like those movies where, while it is for families,
Yeah.
it also has
Has
a more
a deeper
detailed,
meaning, yeah.
a detailed story, and all the characters have arcs which get paid off, and so on and so. This movie doesn't have that. So when this film came out, a lot of people were like saying that this is a children's movie first,
Yeah.
Mario fan kind of second, because it's designed to be simple enough for kids of all ages to follow. So which is why it has its set pieces leading to other set pieces.
Which is fine, but I just...
But yeah, that was an interesting criticism of the film that had some big blowback, because a lot of these people, I guess, got defensive because they were like, "How dare you say Mario doesn't have a storyline?"
Yeah, but I understand, like, you know, Mario doesn't have to make you cry at the end like a Pixar movie, you know, does or something. Like, it doesn't have to be deep or dark. But
Yeah.
this version, you know, this new animated movie is so bare bones.
Yeah,
It's just a bare structure of a movie, so that there can be several set pieces, and the animation is really nice.
oh, it doesn't detract because it's one of those things where you have to know what the movie is, but like
Yeah.
the movie doesn't pretend to be this great world
I
building
think
story.
there's like the bit at the start where his father's, you know, not proud of him, and he's like, I can't live up. And then
I
right at
remember
the
when
end,
we talked about this, we were like, who in the studio here can relate?
yeah. But then right at the end, he's like, oh, you know, I let my father down, and then he defeats Bowser, and then his father's like, oh yeah, I'm proud of you, and it's just kind of like,
You're proud of yourself for fighting in the street like a real Italian American.
It's so, I almost would have.
come on, man.
I almost
Real New Yorker.
I
New
almost
Yorker.
would have preferred if they didn't do that, because it's so minuscule and surface
Yeah.
level that I'm like, just start it with a couple of plumbers and they accidentally fall down a pipe,
Yeah,
and they
that's
have
right.
to save
Yeah.
save the day. Like,
Yeah.
it almost felt worse than if they just got on with it,
yeah,
because it is so
yeah.
nothing, you know.
But I think it kind of succeeds in like, even with the decision they took to simplify the story, kind of succeeded in the sense that you can watch it and not be bored. Because
Yeah, I was entertained.
the
Although-
animation is so vibrant and colorful and fantastic to look at,
Yeah.
that even though there isn't much of
And
a
it
story,
moves so quickly.
that's what I'm gonna say. The momentum is constant.
But I think one of the problems I had was, especially after watching the 93 version, which is like an hour and 40 minutes, and the new animated version is like an hour and a half. And like the 93 version isn't particularly deep or anything, but it feels like there's some progression going on. There's some story there. It's very simple, but it's there. There's not really anything real character growth, but there's something. Like, I kind of cared about what was going on.
well, you saw
Whereas in the new animated movie, it was so bare bones that
Yeah.
I was just like, I don't really care if Bowser kills it. Like,
I
I think
that
that's also a problem. We talked about it before, where I think it's also a problem where Bowser isn't enough of a presence and a threat.
Yeah, so the 93 version, like, everyone has more screen time. So it's like you get to see more of their personal...
King Koopa's always going around doing something,
Yeah.
ordering people around. He's got henchmen.
Are they the cousins? Is that what he calls
Yeah,
them?
Iggy and Spike.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Koopa cousins.
Yeah. It's like everyone gets more. You get to see what they're up to,
Yeah.
what they're plotting. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And then you swap over to Mario
because
and
there's
Luigi
the
and see
there's
what
the
they're doing.
MacGuffin of Daisy's crystal piece, meteorite necklace, like, is a MacGuffin. Like, there's something you have to chase. So
Yeah.
everyone's got a goal, and, you know, everyone's chasing after, and, you know, Luigi and Mario are trying to save Daisy, and she's
Yeah.
trying to get this crystal back, and then Cooper's trying to get the crystal from her. Blah, blah, blah. So there's always, we know what's going on.
There's tension.
Whereas this movie, the new animated one, is like the first opening scene where Bowser attacks the Penguin Snow Kingdom is pretty cool, and then you just don't really see him that much.
No, yeah.
And then Peach is like, Bowser has the superstar, which will give him the power to invade the Mushroom Kingdom. We have to do something. And then Mario just happens to fall through the pipe, and she's like, can you help?
yeah.
And
Hey,
he's
you're
like,
human.
okay. Yeah, and I'm just like, okay. And then they train, and then they go to recruit the Kong army so they can be more powerful. And it's like, okay. And then they get the Kong army, and they go, for some reason, because they have to have it in there, they go on the Mario Kart Rainbow Road to defeat Bowser, even though he's coming to them.
Yeah,
they
yeah.
get ambushed, and then they get pushed back, and then they have to fight at Mushroom Kingdom anyway.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we've only seen Bowser a couple of times in between. He has a song, because Jack Black, obviously.
Which became
And-
like a number one song. Peaches. Yeah.
It's a pretty good song. You can never ever accuse Jack Black of not putting 100% into anything he does. But yeah, he has the song, and he has like maybe one other scene where he's like talking to Luigi. He's like, there's another one of you with a mustache out there. Tell me who he is.
Yeah.
And other than that, like, I think we even talked about this with Jake on the other episode. Like, even before I had seen the movie, I was like, and Jake was saying, like, it would have been better if, like, maybe the star was the MacGuffin, and they have to, who gets the star first?
Yeah, we found out the
Or-
location of the star.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like a Raiders of the Lost Star kind of thing. Are the Nazis going to get it, or is Indy going to get to it first? Whatever. It's just like, or what Jake was saying in the other episode is like, maybe Bowser and his army are slowly moving across each kingdom and getting closer to the Mushroom Kingdom. And it's
Yeah.
like a race against time. It's like, Mario, we need you to step up because he's getting
Yeah.
closer. And every once in a while you cut back to Bowser and his army taking
Yeah.
over another kingdom. And especially because there's a really cool scene where they go to the Mushroom Kingdom's like war room, and all the toads are standing around, and the world map comes up. It's like the Super Mario World overworld map. And I was like, oh, wouldn't that be cool if every once in a while they checked in and more of the map is being taken over by Bowser's...
Flame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
visually represented of like he's getting closer. And every once in a while you cut back and it's like Bowser and his army enslaving all the Sand Kingdom and the whatever.
What would have been a fantastic idea is if you have like what you said, like that indie race to get to the star. But it's like Bowser
and that would make more sense for the Mario Kart scene because it's like we have to race to get to a place by a certain time.
But meanwhile, the Mushroom Kingdom's building their defenses, and you get this epic scene at the big climax where Mario gets the star, returns like Gandalf the White.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah, that is
so
cool.
you'd get this whole big climactic battle scene. You got the defense of the Mushroom Kingdom, Bowser and his forces, battle between good and
evil. They
evil.
could have done that where it's like they're almost defeated, and then Mario comes like grabs the star and is like
but instead we get this Earth transition with the meeting of the worlds.
Just so his dad can see him.
Yeah, and it would have been hilarious for Mario to come back after this epic battle, and his family be like, "Still a disappointment, son."
And then he just like ignores them because he knows he's the best. I also think like, I know this is stupid because the games have never been about plumbing, but like I like how in the live action version he's a good plumber and that helps him defeat the bad guy. Whereas in this one he's like a mediocre plumber, and then plumbing just never comes back.
Let's be honest. In the games, Luigi's more of a ghost hunter than he is a plumber.
Yeah, professionally speaking.
Yeah, but I'm just saying in terms of the world of this movie, because they're trying to set up.
Yeah, they're trying to that's how much emphasis they put on their real jobs.
At the end of the animated one, it ends on this kind of not cliffhanger, but this final note of like Luigi and Mario wake up and they're like, "Yeah, high five," and then they open the door and they're in the Mushroom Kingdom. They're not in Brooklyn, and so it's like, oh, they've moved here like they have in the cartoons and the games. It's like, and they're going to be the protectors of the realm, and so that's their job now. So plumbing never has to come into it again.
Yeah.
But I just like, if you're trying to make Nathan, what did you call it when a anime character goes from the real world to fantasy?
An isekai,
If
which
you're
is
trying
technically, I would argue, is an isekai.
It is an isekai.
So if you're trying to make an isekai movie, like you should probably have put some effort into like their real world guys out of their element, and especially because this adaptation is so 1-to-1 to the games, that they're like, oh, if you punch the box, you get a power up. If you eat the mushroom, you get, and so it's very not unmovie like.
Yeah.
And that's makes it suffer. But on the other hand, if they didn't do it that way, then people would complain, oh, it's not Mario. Why
like
can't he?
It's definitely it's a hard one to manage because if you want to keep it authentic to the games, then it's like you kind of want to do it that way, and it'll also keep the kids more entertained if it's like
and
they can visually see
there's
their
so many,
experience.
and there's also so many
represented.
Easter eggs, and you're like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
the thing from the game. Oh, I remember that guy.
And they
yeah.
probably wanted to do a complete 180 from the last film they did.
Well, that's
So there was,
that's
like,
one of the
a
reasons.
deliberate over kind of direction.
We already talked about this in episode 150, but I'll reiterate. One of the reasons I didn't go to the cinema with you guys to see the animated one is because it felt very cold and corporate. It felt like there was the live action one came out, bombed. Nintendo was like, never again. No one's allowed to make Nintendo movies ever. Finally, they allowed Illumination to make it, but it had to be like 1-to-1. It had to be very safe. It had to be so close to the games that it almost harms parts of the movie.
Yeah, like every scene Nintendo approved.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
on top of that, you have to get all these famous actors to do the voices because that's what sells. Because the algorithm says that's hot on Twitter.
We need
you know.
Chris Pratt's name.
Yeah.
Chris Pratt's name on a poster.
Exactly, and that's one of the reasons that put me off it. I was like, I understand getting celebrity voices, but Chris Pratt really, it just rubbed me the wrong way.
If we get a sequel, can we get Arnie to voice Metal Mario?
Nick Cage voicing
Everybody.
Nick Cage voicing everybody.
Yeah.
No, but like,
Yeah.
I feel like, and I talked about this on the other episode. Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong.
Awful.
Could have been inspired, but
not a good choice. But he's got a funny voice.
Yeah.
So okay, he's a monkey. Haha. Charlie Day as Luigi. Doesn't exactly sound like Luigi, but he's got a kind of gravelly, funny voice. He's doing a bit of a Brooklyn accent. He's pretty good in the movie, Like Keegan-Michael Key as Toad. Oh, not really what Toad sounds like, but he does a good job. He sounds
Fred Armisen in this movie's weird.
not good.
Not good, yeah.
But
no.
that, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
When there are some actors who, even Jack Black. Personally, I don't think Jack Black is perfect as Bowser because Bowser should be more of a deep kind of Jabba the Hutt. Ooh,
Yeah.
But Jack Black has a gravelly voice. He has a presence.
Yeah.
So of course he works. But Chris Pratt,
Yeah.
no.
I mean,
Yeah.
who decided Fred Armisen as well? Because, I imagine, is there some 9-year-old sitting there being like, oh, finally Fred Armisen's on screen?
Well, I guess because he's a comedian, they have to have someone funny do the role. Like Seth Rogen, Charlie Day. They're all funny people. And I'm just...
And who's our leading man? Chris Pratt's our leading man.
Yeah,
Like,
well, I mean, he's funny.
I'd rather have Fred
in
Armisen as Mario
certain-
than Chris Pratt.
But actually, he probably would have done a better job. But Cranky Kong does not... That doesn't sound like...
Here's Woody Allen
Juice
as
Mario.
Cranky Kong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
like L'chaim
Yeah, it's
with
just-
Mario Brothers.
yeah. And as Alan was
Mario
saying...
Marenstein.
And as Alan was saying in episode 151, where Anya Taylor-Joy just does... She's an English actress, but she does just a plain American accent. I love her. She's one of my favorite actors right now. She's the only one who I'd say is close to phoning it in. But I will say that's probably because the script for Peach is so boring.
Yeah.
All she does is say monotone, like, Mario, you need to help us. The Mushroom King here is in danger. And it's not even her fault because the script is written that way. Although I did like the bit where Peach powers up with the frozen power, ice powers. That was cool. And the flame, when she touches, that was cool. The animation is nice. The visuals are nice.
Yeah.
So there's this thing that the movie does, which I hate, where every 10 minutes there's like a popular, like a pop song or a classic rock song. And, a lot of DreamWorks movies do this. A lot of cheapo, crappy, Illumination movies do this. It's a really cheap, lazy way of getting the kids engaged and just kind of picking the most boring, obvious song.
You'd be happy with all the
for a
songs from
scene.
TikTok, all right? That's how you get the kids engaged.
That's what I was gonna say. The kids aren't listening to "I Need a Hero."
No,
or
but
whatever, man,
to use "I Need a Hero" for the training montage is so
Yeah.
boring.
It's
Like,
for the
it's
man
just-
children more than
like,
anything.
it's
yeah,
just-
exactly. It's for the older audience.
But even kids, it's like it's a fun, boppy
Yeah.
song. But it's so lazy.
yeah.
And I hate when animated movies. And the reason Pixar is a cut above the rest is because they usually don't do crap like that.
They do a lot of original songs.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
exactly. And this movie should have, because the score, the reinterpretation of the Mario video game
Yeah.
score to the movie, is pretty good. But the
Yeah.
fact that every 5-10 minutes there's like a pop song, I was like,
You know
this
what they
movie
needed?
sucks. Minus 10 points. But then a cool action scene would happen, and the camera would be following Mario as he's jumping, platforming.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool.
You know what we need?
Yeah.
If they want like big names for the music, like song wise. It's like, do you remember in Batman, Tim Burton got Prince to make the Batman soundtrack?
Yeah, maybe pick one artist.
You know what I mean? Yeah, like Jack Black,
Actually,
Tenacious
speaking-
D, for example, could have done
That-
the
I think
Mario
Nathan and I were
soundtrack.
talking about that. We're like, Jack Black is in this movie. He has one song which is not very long and is not.
Yeah.
I'm like,
He doesn't have to sing every song, but it's like
no, if he writes all the songs, yeah.
You know how like Nine Inch Nails do like the soundtracks for all kinds of different
Yeah.
movies? Like you can find people to make you a custom made soundtrack that doesn't
Well, I
need
mean, they
vocals
had-
necessarily.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
it's
they
like,
had the score, so a lot of this.
yeah, but I mean like you can get names to do stuff. Like I said, the
or
Prince
if you
soundtrack.
or if you are going to pick licensed songs, don't pick the most boring, obvious pop or classic rock or whatever. Pick
Yeah.
something that's a bit like video gamey or fun or unusual,
Yeah,
but still
yeah.
fits the scene.
yeah.
That's why, I didn't want to pay money to go see this at the cinema because it just felt it's very safe by
Oh,
the numbers,
Which is fair.
and sometimes lazy. And while visually it was nice, there were parts where I was kind of bored because I just didn't care what was going on, and because a lot of the voice acting was kind of bleh.
See, I wasn't bored.
no.
Well, yeah,
'Cause
because
he
you
was
were
cramped.
you're in the
Yeah.
cloud. You're
Oh,
in the
no,
cloud
no.
kingdom.
Nathan was having conversations with people while me and James are trying to watch the movie.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and then silent producer Christian came over, and he's silent for the purposes of this show, but while watching the movie, he wouldn't shut up. So we're
Yeah.
like, hey, down in front.
Should have pulled the old. You gotta take this outside.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting, right? We talk about earlier. You mentioned this movie's made $1 billion. I think it's made over $1 billion at the box office so far.
Oh yeah, it's huge.
But they still haven't officially greenlit any other Mario Nintendo
But you know
movie, I
they
should say.
can't.
Well, it was
Well, I
it's
mean,
interesting,
come on,
right?
man, they left it on a cliffhanger.
Well, there
no.
there is a stinger at the
Well,
end.
yeah,
Yes.
kind of a
cliffhanger.
stinger.
Not a cliffhanger, but
There's a stinger, like
tease,
end credit
yeah.
stinger. Yeah.
Yeah, in a way.
Hatches is just like one of the creepy looking dinosaurs from.
Could you imagine?
Oh, it's the live action
Crossover.
version. Oh.
Multiverse time. Multiverses is hot right now.
Oh yes.
No, but what I was gonna say is, there was rumors that they were making a Legend of Zelda movie, but that's been officially denied.
So before this movie, Legend of Zelda movie rumors have been around for a long time,
Yeah.
as with Mario movie rumors. Now that this movie has come out and made bank, they're definitely going to make a sequel.
Yeah.
Hopefully a Luigi's Mansion movie. I think that could be really good. Obviously, Illumination, the visuals would be how they are. But if you could get someone to write it and direct it well, a Luigi's Mansion,
Yeah, like
even if it's a very safe kids movie, could be fun.
if we got
Yeah.
someone like
Could be really
Guillermo
fun.
to direct it, or like John Carpenter.
No, you already made that joke in the,
No, we
the
need a
last time we
Blumhouse
talked
Luigi's
about it.
Mansion.
I'm just talking about it's obviously going to be a safe kids movie,
Yeah.
animated by Illumination. But
Yeah.
if you can get someone to write it well and kind of give it some spice in terms of directing and how the story unfolds, could be really good. Zelda, I think, as soon as this movie finished, I think I turned to Callum or someone and I said, I'm actually afraid for the inevitable Zelda movie because it's going to be exactly like this. It's going to look the same, it's going to sound the same, and it's going to follow that same...
Zelda's harder to adapt, I would argue.
But that's why it's going to be bad, because it's going to fail to adapt the games in any meaningful way, or the story or the characters. And it's going to be a very much a set piecey kind of Link gets the sword, Link fights the thing, he defeats Ganon at the end, and it's going to be very safe. Quick.
The last hour
Whereas
is just Link in the water dungeon.
it should be he just keeps drowning and then Reese the life
Yeah.
that keeps in his hearts keep going down.
Or he just says, "Hey, listen."
Hey, listen. And am I the only one who likes Navi and doesn't get annoyed?
I don't
she's
get
good.
annoyed. Yeah, I don't get annoyed. No.
I love
It's the owl that pisses me off.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying is it should like Zelda is such a great fantasy
Yeah.
franchise with so many cool characters and a unique atmosphere that for them to just do the lazy hero's adventure that end 90 minutes
Yeah.
safe kids movie. I'm not saying it needs to be dark or anything.
No.
But then a Spider-Verse-esque animated something more a
Yeah.
bit more different, you know, maybe more in line with a Pixar movie in terms of the progression of the story and characters, and like leaning heavily into the fantasy of it.
Yeah.
Look, we might talk more about what the future holds after
Yeah.
this quick break. You're back on the Tuesday review. So we've been discussing the Mario Brother movies,
Mhm.
all right, the 1993 classic,
Live action superior
Yeah.
Mario movie,
and
the
obviously
inferior
and the new and
animated
the newer
The Super Mario Brothers
2023
All right,
Mario.
who's
movie.
your favorite character in the new movie?
Oh, just saying that, I know what you're getting at, and
It's
thank
not-
you for
it's not
reminding
not.
me.
He's just trying to eat, man.
Oh yeah,
He's-
that was
he's-
pretty
he's-
funny.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so the humor in the '93 live action movie is so weird and kind of goofy and sometimes creepy that I was laughing.
Sometimes.
I was laughing the whole time.
Sometimes.
I was laughing the whole time. It's hilarious.
The leer,
Both-
is it what's
but-
it leer?
Yeah,
the leers?
but both.
Yeah.
So the thing with the '93 version is I'm laughing intentionally and unintentionally because there are
Yeah.
parts of it that
Yeah.
are genuinely funny because they meant it to be funny, and there are other parts that are just funny because
Because
It's so
uncomfortable
weird.
And
yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and,
And
and
wouldn't
Bob
fly
Hoskins.
in
It's
Bob
funny
Hoskins
because of
Mario-
drugs.
Yeah, Bob
Yeah.
Hoskins Mario is popping over Luigi's shoulder and giving the eyes to Daisy, going, It's so weird.
there's
and-
more Italian sausage where that came from.
And he's trying to remember when he's trying to seduce Big Bertha at the nightclub, and
Yeah.
you guys pause it to go to the toilet, and that's when I took that photo that I put in the group chat of him
Yeah.
going.
Yeah.
So there's that, and like I said, watching the '93 version again, I enjoyed it this time more than I have ever before. Every time I watch it, it gets better, which is insane. The new animated version, I chuckled a couple of times, but mostly the humor fell flat. I don't think it was funny at all.
Yeah.
Except for in the second half of the movie, Luigi gets captured and put in a cage next to a whole bunch of
Oh,
other
yes.
people.
I know who Alan's favorite character is
Yeah,
now.
and Alan talked about this on episode 151, where it's like a little star, blue
Lumily,
star,
yeah.
a
Lumily.
Lumily, okay,
It's
from Mario
uh,
Galaxy.
Yeah, Galaxy.
Yeah. And it's got a cute little toddler's voice, like cute little kid's voice, but everything it says is really morbid and it's
Nihilistic.
Yeah, nihilistic, and it's really depressed.
Like death is our only escape.
Yeah,
kind of, yeah.
it's so funny.
You don't know how long the Lumili's been in prison
And-
for. You assume that it's long enough
Yeah.
for it to give it up
to
hope.
just give up, yeah. And I was just like, yes, that very spoke to me on a very, you know. But also, I'm like, if the more of the movie, again, it's a kids' movie, it doesn't. But I'm like, if more of the movie had a bit more, I don't want to say edge, but
Humor that the adults can appreciate.
I feel like
maybe
we're
yeah,
talking,
or
you're-
just maybe just better humor. Like there are still kids' movies that are quote like straight up kids' movies, but they have funny moments.
Wreck-It Ralph was pretty funny. I
Yeah.
mean, Shrek is hilarious.
Yeah. That had better humor.
You know, we talk about family movies and stuff, and I'm like, this movie I don't classify.
Those
as
were
a-
more like Shrek had a lot of crude humor because the ogre.
ogres are crude. In it,
yeah. There's like mud and
Yeah.
there's snot and there's
But I'm like-
earwax and
Oh,
Like,
think-
I feel like if this movie
Yeah.
was, I feel like if this movie was made years ago in like that classic Shrek era, in Incredibles era, the humor would have been better.
it would have been
Maybe-
better written.
But I think the
They're
biggest
definitely
issue is-
aiming.
Animation wise,
hey, you're lucky this movie's not written and voiced by AI.
the biggest issue, I think,
not yet. Then the
Holding-
sequel, the one after that,
holding
might
most
be.
of the development, or we'll call it complexity, back in the movie would have been Nintendo. They would probably have had like a lot of
that's
things
the
like, can we do this, can we do this?
problem.
And be like,
Again,
no.
that's why I was very about it because I'm like, it just feels like a made by committee kind of movie, and even though it looked nice and it's perfectly fine,
It can't be
entertainment,
too funny. Can't upset the children.
yeah, and you can't do this because in the game, you know, whatever. And
I really wonder what the Lumily says in Japanese then. Because I'm like, did they?
I bet you can find it
Did
somewhere.
they have a different kind of?
Slightly different translation.
And that's why it flew to like Yale. And then like they watched the English version like Nani,
Yeah.
like pull it from theaters. It's like too late.
Monday.
We should definitely look that up. Because actually, before when the trailer came out and everyone was making fun of Chris Pratt's voice, and then people were putting like different dubs, you know, the Italian dub, the Portuguese dub for Brazil, the French dub of Mario, and everyone's like, all the voices are better than Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
And I think. Not that anyone's going to do this,
I mean,
but the
that's
good
a
thing
really-
is with it being animated is you could technically replace
Redub
it with like more accurate voices. It would
That's-
be pretty
Get
good.
Bob Hoskins
Yeah,
to do it.
Yeah,
That's an interesting point, actually.
it would honestly make the movie a bit better. It would bump it up in my
That's an
book.
interesting point because most of the kind of animated movies that Hollywood produces are, you know, they're English speaking movies, right?
Mm.
And the English speaking sort of, I guess, countries that were releasing focus more on celebrity and stardom and names rather than when the movie gets released in an international audience and it's dubbed into a different language. I guess that
Although they have their famous voice actors who do
yeah,
certain roles that everyone knows that voice is that guy who does.
yeah, but that's my point. Is with this movie, it's Chris Pratt. Chris Pratt's not an established voice actor. He's not like trained in it, and he doesn't have an extensive resume for that kind of work. I would assume.
All right,
Um,
we dub it with James Gandolfini.
I
That's
mean,
Mario.
a bit,
Well,
a bit
you have to
hard,
be AIA.
but-
You have to be AI.
I'm sorry to break this to you live on the air, Alan.
Oh,
Yeah.
fine.
The man's dead.
The man's
Yeah,
dead. That's
you have
fine.
to be
Still,
AI.
he like it'd be also a great time because you know he's used to being a waste management.
Honestly, that would be that. I remember we talked about this in episode 150 or whatever. Originally, Chris Pratt was doing a more hard kind of Brooklyn accent,
And they made him stop?
They told him to ease off. I'm like, I would have much preferred that because
Yeah.
whatever the hell he's
Yeah.
doing in this movie doesn't work. I
But,
don't like.
I mean, it's been more interesting to go and listen to some of these dubs because, like,
yeah.
the voice acting is probably better in a lot of these
Honestly,
animated
like,
movies
if the
in
four-
other countries that
And
have
you
been
can get it with
redubbed.
subtitles,
Actually,
right?
yeah.
So-
the 4K just came out. I should check how many dubs it has on there.
Yeah,
You
and
might
give
prefer
it a
to watch
listen.
it with a foreign dub and have
Yeah, like the
subtitles.
French guy I remember sounded pretty good.
Because
I
I mean, that's the whole thing. Like all these movies are aimed at an English-speaking audience with the stars attached, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, you know, they've probably got some real tight voice dubbers in all these other countries that kind of are just better at mimicking
Yeah.
the kind of accents that they have to have.
Charles Martinet, who plays Mario in all the video games and has
He has a
voiced
small
Mario
cameo.
for 40 years.
Yeah.
He plays Mario's dad in the movie, and he also plays another unrelated character
Yeah.
who's basically just,
He's it's
Jumpman?
like a it's,
Jumpman. He's
yeah,
the original
it's a
Mario.
nod,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, he's playing.
which I thought I was just like, pick one or the other. Also, just use him as Mario. Everyone's saying, trying to defend it, like, oh, you wouldn't want to listen to him for a whole movie. I'm like,
Yes,
why
I would,
not?
yeah.
He sounds fine. Also, he's a very well-established voice actor. He doesn't just do Mario.
He doesn't. He's not just a woohoo man.
Yeah.
Oh, screw it! Just have Mario only say "woohoo" the whole movie. That's it.
Honestly, considering
He only says- he only
considering
says
Mario,
the- yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
considering
no. He can also say, "Oh no."
yeah,
I'm
but
not
considering
Maria."
considering,
Yeah.
considering Mario is such a bland, boring
Yeah.
character in this movie, he could have been a like silent type where he
Oh, no,
only
sorry.
says.
Sorry, we forgot his fourth phrase.
A few clips
Oh
from,
yeah.
It's basically that's all it is. Those four
Yeah,
phrases.
yeah.
And, he's-
Oh,
that's the
and
whole
when he gets
movie.
hit, he goes, whoa, 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 whoa.
That
Oh,
could
yeah.
still look. I don't think the movie would have been much worse. If that was the,
Yeah.
No, honestly, it would be much better.
Also,
actually,
comedic
we should work on
timing-
a fan edit.
Yeah.
Comedic timing, if you had that going on as well, would be
Yeah.
hilarious. Like just awkward silences as Mario doesn't say anything.
Actually, that's one thing about the humor. You know, when there's a couple of bits where something's flying at Mario and it goes slow motion and he goes, "Mrr, mrr, mrr," and I was like, that's not funny, man. It would have been much funnier if it was, it was something more unexpected, like, you know, those. I don't know. I
Yeah.
just, it's not a bad movie. It was entertaining. I might watch it again one day, but it's very
I think I talked about this.
meh. It's very mid.
Yeah, I think I talked
Okay.
about this last time we talked about it. I'm like, the movie, look, as a visual treat, it's nice. I
Yeah.
can watch the movie and just appreciate the
It's
animation.
a cool kind of
Yeah.
action.
As a story,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is what I was getting at when I was bringing up the pop music. Is every time a pop song would come on, I would yell out like -10 points. This sucks.
yeah.
But then something cool would happen, and you know, there's a bit where they're like jumping on boxes and the camera's like following it. I'm like, oh, this is cool. And then the little star guy showed up, and I'm like, oh, plus 30 points. And so at the end, even though it had
all
a
evened
lot
out,
of
yeah.
it had a lot of minuses in my book, I was just like, oh, there are enough pluses where it kind of evens out. I was
yeah.
like, this movie's very okay for me.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
you guys probably enjoyed it a lot more, and I know. I know
It
that,
is what it is, you know.
Yeah, I know there are a lot of Easter eggs and a lot of.
I'm not a Nintendo guy. I know Jake got more out of it.
Yeah,
Jake
yeah.
and his friend Mikey got more out of it than I did because
Yeah, because
you
of the
know,
Easter eggs.
there's like Easter eggs in it so quick that I'd have to pause the frame and then get Wikipedia open. And
but it's
you know,
still
like,
fun when you have those. But yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't improve the movie to a point
not for
where,
non-Nintendo, not for non-hardcore Nintendo
Yeah.
guys. You know,
especially when
I
other
saw
parts of the
Jumpman
movie-
and the crates from Donkey Kong, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I know that stuff, and Punch
Yeah.
Out, I know that, and that's it.
Yeah, but yeah, it doesn't matter how many Easter eggs you have or how many game references you have if the story and characters and the movie
Yeah.
overall isn't really holding up and keeping your attention.
It's content. You know, we talk about content all the time.
Definitely, exactly. This is why I
Yeah.
waited for it to come on streaming because I was
It's
just
not
like,
cinema, it's content.
So you waited for it to come on stream so you could pirate it. Not that we do that.
no, we didn't.
Not from Nintendo, anyway.
We didn't do that. Nintendo lawyers, if you're listening,
Ooh.
this is another reason why I didn't go to the movies to see it. Nintendo, I love a lot of their games and characters, but as a company, I don't really like them. And I've talked about on the show before where, other than a couple of games, like my Switch just gathers dust.
I'm
and
sure
I
we've
kind
talked
of
about
don't-
this on like more game focused episodes. Nintendo is very Japanese business focused in the way they kind of operate in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
And that's kind of it, much to the detriment of other major publishers in the West. They operate a little bit
they
differently.
make a lot of
and
weird.
They kind of
they
clash.
make a lot of weird decisions that seem anti-fan, anti-consumer,
Anti-fan is, I think, the better word.
Yeah.
Because anti-consumer, like a lot of the Japanese companies will do it.
Still-
Nintendo is specifically anti-fan.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
what,
yeah,
you
yeah.
made this because you love our franchise? We're suing you.
Yeah.
Shut
Yeah,
it down.
and the whole thing about
oh, you want
not-
this game? We're never going to give it to you for 20 years, and then we're finally going to release it in a poorly emulated
Yeah, and if you-
version,
if you
and you
try-
have to
you want-
subscribe to our thing.
You-
But
just-
and it's only available in Japan.
yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna release those 3 games you wanted, the 3 3D Mario games.
Yeah.
A limited time only, physical
you
only.
can buy it for
manufactured
3
scarcity.
months, yeah.
Their manufactured scarcity is what really pisses me
Yeah,
off.
and
Yeah,
they shut down like
yeah.
Smash tournaments for no reason, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
like they hate the consumer.
We love you, Nintendo. Be problematic.
We love you, but we hate you, which is
Yeah.
my feeling with this movie. I like
Yeah.
it, but I don't like it. And
You
yeah,
can tell this is Nintendo the abuser.
yeah. Okay, no, I'm writing that down. Nintendo,
Nintendo
the
the
abuse.
abuse.
Actually, we're gonna get taken down. What do you reckon?
Yeah, that's it. DMCA us, Nintendo. We're not on YouTube.
Yeah.
Fuck
No,
us.
we're
Yeah.
fine. We're totally taken down by Nintendo.
Okay, in brackets, yeah, taken
Uh,
down.
That's just about all the time we got for tonight. Any last thoughts, anyone?
The 93 live action version is good. I really like,
Like I said,
it.
I agree. It's a good movie. Not a good Mario movie, but a good movie, especially if you're drinking.
Especially, it's a very weird. It's also a very weird, strange movie. So yeah, it would be fun if you get friends together and go, "Let's watch this weirdo movie that makes no sense in terms of."
Anything.
I mean, it makes sense. Like it's a cohesive story, but it doesn't make sense in like, why did they do this?
Yeah.
Why did they choose to do it this
Why
way?
are people hatching out of eggs? But you know, that's
Yeah.
Okay, so there's in the Mushroom Kingdom, they evolve instead of evolving from apes, they evolve from dinosaurs. It's so cool. I love this movie.
and it's called the Mushroom Kingdom just because.
Because
Yeah.
they de-evolve the guy to the point where he's turned into
fungus.
fungus. Trust the fungus.
Doesn't make any sense.
Oh, we didn't talk about there's 3 Marios. Mario, and Luigi Mario. So the live action movie is where they introduce that their last name is Mario because that's why they call
Mario
them Mario
Brothers.
Brothers. Whereas every other game and movie and show has never mentioned it. They just called Mario Brothers because Mario is the main character. And this is the only time they've like acknowledged
Addressed it.
And
Yeah.
there's a Mama Luigi too somewhere in
Yeah.
one of the TV shows, cartoons, I think.
Yeah.
it. Is there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's like a late early 90s cartoon before the movie came out. That's pretty good. One of those cartoons is pretty good.
All right.
Anyway, yeah.
That's all the time we have for tonight. Thanks for listening, everyone. Please like and share the Tuesday review.
Or can we'll talk about after the show, but can the title be 93 over 2023? Like the 93 version is better than...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or,
Anyway, we'll talk. We'll
Yeah,
brainstorm, and whatever
Yeah.
the title is, the listeners will see it.
Once again, for the lawyers, we did not pirate this film.
We do not pirate it. We love Nintendo. We buy all your games full price.
Definitely
Actually, they
don't
never go on
download-
discount.
Yeah.
We definitely don't download them no ROMs off the internet.
I've never played a ROM in
That's
my
it.
life.
Definitely no emulation.
When we talked about the ROG LA last week, that was
Yeah, we definitely-
not in terms of-
Hypothetical.
that
we
was
definitely hypothetically do not have all of the Nintendo ROMs on a hard drive.
yeah. Mario is life. Mario is love.
Yeah,
Thanks
we
for
pay
listening,
full price
everyone.
for every single one of your games.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Please like and share the Tuesday Review Facebook page, Instagram, and the Twitter at Tuesday Review AU.
Should we? Okay, you finish, and then I want to say something.
Yeah,
Sorry.
continue.
Oh, I just want to say, instead of saying adios cousins, which is the Dennis Hopper sign off that we usually do for Waterworld, should we say ba-bomb?
Yes.
Which is which he says at the end of
When can we start quoting Blue Velvet, Dennis Hopper lines?
next week. I don't know. We can't really say those on air. Pabst Blue Ribbon. No, Heineken. I can't even do the full quote because of the swearing. All right, let's go.
All right, thanks for listening, everyone. Ba-bum!
Ba-bomb.